Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is a bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, it should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath Kello Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. It's great to have you along. So the big story this morning is we've seen the House now pass the Epstein Files Transparency Act. So the House overwhelmingly voted to release, and these are the long sealed documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. And the president initially had not been in favor of release, and then he reversed himself on it. So the president said we have nothing to hide. So this was passed by the House last night, and pretty overwhelmingly. I mean, you had a vote of 427 to 1 in the House, and then it was approved in the Senate by unanimous consent. And so it goes right for the president's signature. The Epstein Files Transparency Act compels the Department of Justice to release all unclassified records related to Jeffrey Epstein's investigation, including documents on Ghislaine Maxwell, flight logs, and references to powerful figures. So this was, again, a near unanimous vote. There was only one Republican who voted against this in the House of Representatives, and then passed the Senate via unanimous consent. So this is the first time we haven't seen this kind of bipartisanship on anything. You know, releasing those files, that Democrats and Republicans coming together and, you know, in favor of releasing the files. I'm really not going to focus on a lot of the nonsense that was occurring beforehand. The president made it clear. I thought it was a smart move. I thought it was a smart move of President Trump to go from opposing the release of the files to then saying, let's release them and let's get them out there and let's quit talking about it. So in other words, get them out there and let them go, and let's move on to other things. I totally understand that kind of thinking. So that we'll see that happen. Trying to see if there's anything else here. CNN reported that the bill allows the Attorney General, this is one of the sticking points, allows the Attorney General to withhold information that jeopardizes active investigations or involves national security methods and sources. And so that could shield then classified ties. CNN says, like theories of Epstein as an intelligence asset for blackmail operations. Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer has, you know, he's still out there. He's dropping the F-bomb yesterday, going after Trump about this. Doesn't trust Trump. Doesn't trust Pam Bondi. Doesn't trust, just on a laundry list of people that Senator Chuck Schumer doesn't trust. So this will, again, we're hoping that it's going to force some sunlight on some of Jeffrey Epstein's connections. So this will be moving forward, and we'll see what happens as to whether or not the because it's been manic. You know, you've had some people who've been running around regarding this, and I'm not saying it's not important. It certainly is. visited with Iowa Senator Joni Ernst about this morning, and I think, I asked her, does there need to be more focus on the victims of Jeffrey Epstein? And she was in total agreement with that. Let's go to the president's True Social account. He's made some posts here over the last this was in the overnight hours. President talking about AI. And he said, there's a lot of stories regarding AI. Investment in AI is helping make the U.S. economy the hottest in the world, but overregulation by the states is threatening to undermine this major growth engine. Some states are even trying to embed DEI ideology, into AI models, producing woke AI. He said, we must have one federal standard instead of a patchwork of 50 state regulatory regimens. He said, if we don't, then China will easily catch us in the AI race. So he's talking about putting it in the NDAA or pass a separate bill. Nobody will ever be able to compete with America. So the president is saying, AI ought to be handled at the federal level, not a patchwork of state laws regarding AI, which is kind of, and I understand the point that he's making. President also commented, he said, he's talking about the Jeffrey Epstein bill, and he said, I don't care when this was last night. He said, I don't care when the Senate passes the House bill. And he said, I just don't want Republicans to take their eyes off all the victories that we've had, including the great big beautiful bill, closed borders, no men and women's sports, transgender for everyone, ending DEI, stopping Biden's record-setting inflation, biggest tax and regulation cuts in history, stopping 8 wars, rebuilding our military, being respected by every country in the world, having trillions of dollars invested in the United States, having created the hottest country anywhere in the world, and even delivering a huge defeat to the Democrats on the shutdown. So the president really wants to move forward with some of these other things and other issues. So he's been posting some stuff here in the last. There was another post that I was planning to share, and no, I'm not seeing it. Oh, here we go. Oh, he said, this is it. He said, this was yesterday, the president made this comment. The only health care I will support or approve is sending the money directly back to the people, with nothing going to the big, fat, rich insurance companies who have made trillions and ripped off America long enough. And this is almost all in capital letters. He said the people will be allowed to negotiate and buy their own much better insurance. Power to the people. Congress, do not waste your time and energy on anything else. This is the only way to have great health care in America. Get it done now. So this was the president on True Social yesterday. Also, there are apparently a coalition of 130 congressional Democrats who have filed a brief to the U.S. Supreme Court, urging the Supreme Court to rule in favor of two trans athletes. There's some cases upcoming regarding women's sports and men who are competing in women's sports, transgenders, and Democrats have really embraced this transgender issue. It's just remarkable to watch this. And I wonder what impact, if any, that is having on women supporting the Democrat Party. Because I have wondered for quite a long time now, why would any woman want to support the Democrat Party when they are out there and they are pushing and they're hoping that the U.S. Supreme Court is going to uphold that, yeah, it's okay for men to be competing in women's sports and robbing women of those opportunities. It's the Democrats who are out there pushing that. And now you're seeing this, a story from Fox News. 130 congressional Democrats filed a brief to the Supreme Court urging them to rule in favor of these two transgender athletes. And I'm a little blown away by that. And I just wonder, why is it that Democrats don't see that? And why aren't more people, speaking out against that kind of thing? It really blows my mind. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene is in the news again today. Surprising to me, but I'm going to come back to Joe Concha's got a great piece about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'll come back to that. So Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene was taking a victory. This is from the Hill. Taking a victory lap yesterday, even before the House voted overwhelmingly to approve the Jeffrey Epstein legislation. I've already touched on that. So Greene, ahead of the vote on Tuesday, made it clear she sees herself as embodying the true heart of the America First movement. I've got news for her. Not true. Not true. So she was saying, I was called a traitor by the man that I fought for 6 years. I gave him my loyalty for free. Oh, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe she gave her loyalty wanting the spotlight. That's why she gave her loyalty to Trump, hoping that some of Trump's spotlight would rub off on her. That she would be, she's up there glowing next to President Trump. I just do not believe it. One Republican strategist is looking at it more like me. He said he thinks Greene is basically burning down her own house. He said she isn't helping the party. She isn't helping herself. She isn't helping Trump. She isn't helping America. Maybe she's just so mad that she's decided when she's done in the House, she knows what she's going to do next. Wonder what that would be as to where she goes next. But the Hill. Well, I'm going to back up here. I want to go to this piece that Joe Concha has at the Washington Examiner. And I think Concha is absolutely on it. Because these are the thoughts that I have been having, and Concha articulates them very, very well. And he said, every so often a Republican with an axe to grind decides the most effective way to gain attention is to turn on President Trump. And he says, Exhibit A, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who over the past few weeks, has been on left-leaning TV and podcasts. In other words, and Concha goes on to say, what she has become, she's the new Liz Cheney, right? She is the new Liz Cheney. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he's right. And he says, legacy media are eating this grift up after a week since the true political civil war broke out among Democrats who were hoping to keep the government closed in perpetuity to resist Trump and rile up their growing left-wing base. And so enter then Marjorie Taylor Greene. And she said on X recently, it's a shame our government is working harder to protect pedophiles than they're fighting for the victims. What in the fresh hell? Anyway, I thought Concha is making a very good point. You can find that story at the Hill, that she is positioning herself now kind of in Liz Cheney's domain, where Liz Cheney was always the one who was anti-Trump, and now it's Marjorie Taylor Greene. I have thought for a while, I believe that she doesn't have a lot of credibility, and the more I hear her speak, the more that I continue to think that credibility is just not a word I would use to describe her. And so now she's out there again, and it just becomes a bit much. Washington Examiner's got a story also this morning. Department of Homeland Security stepping up their efforts. They're trying to fight fake news stories, viral, artificially generated videos, and misinformation online claiming that Border Patrol and ICE are abusing and kidnapping illegal immigrants as well as Americans. So asked again, where this the Washington Examiner's got this story. So asked on Tuesday if the federal department should contact Facebook and their social media companies to do more to stop the rampant misinformation and disinformation. Tricia McLaughlin, she is right-hand person at Christine Ohm at Homeland Security. Tricia McLaughlin said it's going to do just that. Yes, we are putting resources forward to ensure that DHS combats this. It's like an hourly game of whack-a-mole, debunking the scourge of lies, smears, and AI deepfakes that are designed to deceive Americans. These fake stories don't slow us down. They just finish out the last shreds of credibility that the mainstream media has left. So there have been a number of made up stories involving, federal police kidnapping people up the street. That started earlier this year. A lot of this stuff, and again, a lot of this, it's videos. There are online sources, online news sources, versus some of the more credible news sources I think that you and I wind up following. So we'll see where that goes. But the DHS saying that they're going to be combating this. It's an hourly game of whack-a-mole. There's a lot of that, I think, going on. And then there's a story at the New York Post this morning, and this is crazy. You've got masked teenagers in California that have caused hundreds of dollars in damage as part of a twisted TikTok challenge. So this is going on in Elk Grove, California. It's called the Door Kick Challenge. Pranksters run up to a targeted house, and what they do is they turn their back to the front door and then kick their leg behind, so they can kick the door more forcefully while bracing themselves against the frame of the door. And so they kick the front door as hard as they can, and then they run off. And in some cases, they come back and they're kicking the door repeatedly. An attack on one door left $900 worth of damage. This stuff is just, seriously crazy. So 2 were captured storming up a home before turning around and bashing their feet into the wooden front door. And this was a video that was shared by police. And they're young, 13 years old. So you'll wind up with people under 2 13-year-olds who are involved in this. They caused more than $680 in damage in that case. Property damage exceeding $400 considered felony vandalism in California. But that's the latest that's going on where you go. It's the Door Kick Challenge. These TikTok and social media challenges are just like, seriously, they're the most absurd, ridiculous things, But we'll leave it there for this morning. My friend, you have made it to the end of the video. Thank you. You are part of my gallery of champions. Special salute to the Bunker Brigade. Those are the folks that are here each and every day without fail. Even minutes before I start the stream each day, they're already here. And I appreciate all of you, each and every one of you, for being here. Very much appreciated. So until tomorrow, my friend, I'm underground and gone.